In Southeast Asia lies the Malacca Strait, one of the world's most critical and dangerous shipping routes. If ships were to take a detour from this narrow stretch of water for even a single day, it could cost them anywhere from $9 million to $90 million. This profitability extends not only to the ships passing through, but also to the pirates patrolling these waters. Let's dive into why the Malacca Strait is so important. The Strait of Malacca is essential because it's the fastest maritime route between the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean. It's regularly used by over 400 shipping lines, connecting more than 700 ports worldwide. With over 70,000 ships passing through annually, this heavy traffic necessitates proper infrastructure to ensure safety, which is why the traffic separation scheme got implemented in 1981. This system establishes opposing streams of vessels to mitigate collision risks. However, traffic jams and collisions aren't the only concerns. The strait has a history of piracy, which became a significant worry post 9/11 due to fears that terrorists could exploit the ease with which pirates operate. In response, the Joint War Committee of Lloyd's Market Association designated the Strait of Malacca as a high-risk area in 2005, although this decision was later rescinded. The Malacca Strait's strategic importance cannot be overstated. It's the shortest sea route between the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean, more than a third shorter than the next best alternative. If the straits were blocked, vessels would have to reroute through the Sunda Strait or the Lombok Strait. The Sunda Strait between Java and Sumatra presents challenges due to its shallow parts and would cause a 1.5-day delay. The Lombok Strait between Bali and Lombok requires at least an additional 3 days in transit and incurs higher costs for operators. These alternatives are far less appealing, highlighting the irreplaceable nature of the Strait of Malacca. A significant portion of global trade flows through this strait. Approximately a quarter of all sea-transported oil passes through it daily. In 2011, out of the 87 million barrels of oil produced per day worldwide, 15.2 million barrels flowed through the Strait of Malacca. By 2016, this number increased to 16 million barrels daily. This is primarily because it's the shortest sea route between African and Persian Gulf suppliers in Asian markets. The volume of oil passing through the strait is 19 times that of the Panama Canal and 4 times that of the Suez Canal. The strait also handles about 25% of the oil moving between the Middle East and Asia, with around 60% of the world's maritime transport passing through it. This means that more than 150 ships and tankers transit the strait daily, mainly serving China and Japan. As the populations and economies of Northeast Asian countries grow, so does their reliance on this vital shipping lane. The importance of the Strait of Malacca extends beyond regional trade. Any disruption would severely impact global trade, particularly for China, which depends heavily on this route for its energy supplies from the Middle East and raw materials out of Africa. China's investments in African mining and infrastructure projects are significant, and the strait is crucial for maintaining these economic links. However, the strait's significance has also attracted unwanted attention, especially in the form of piracy. This issue dates back to the 14th century but gained international prominence in the late 1990s due to the 1997 Asian financial crisis, which left many coastal communities in Indonesia and Malaysia economically distressed, driving some to piracy. High-profile pirate attacks such as the 1998 hijacking of the Petro Ranger highlighted the strait's vulnerabilities. By the early 2000s, piracy in the Strait of Malacca represented nearly 40% of global piracy incidents. From 1995 to 2013, Southeast Asia became a hotspot for over 41% of global pirate attacks, surpassing the Western Indian Ocean, including Somalia, that accounted for 28%, and the West African coast at 18%. During these years, piracy in Southeast Asia resulted in the loss of 136 seafarers, double the casualties in the Horn of Africa and surpassing the combined total in West Africa. Piracy imposes a significant economic burden, draining between $7 billion and $12 billion annually. The Strait of Malacca has become a prime target for well-armed and organized criminal groups, particularly those focusing on oil tankers navigating the narrow Malacca and Singapore Straits and venturing into the expansive South China Sea. In this vast territory, law enforcement faces resource constraints while potential profits for pirates remain substantial. While most global pirate attacks are opportunistic, targeting anchored ships for equipment and crew belongings, some are large-scale, sophisticated strikes requiring military coordination and careful planning. Countries in the region are actively combating these attacks. Efforts to counter piracy have included vigilant patrols and ongoing operations led by the Royal Malayan Marine Police, as well as coordinated regional initiatives like Operation Malindo. Launched in 2004, Operation Malindo involved coordinated naval patrols by Malaysia, Indonesia, and Singapore in their respective territorial waters. Additionally, joint air patrols known as the Eyes in the Sky Plan were introduced in September 2005, with each of the 3 states contributing 2 planes for surveillance over the strait. The launch of the Regional Cooperation Agreement combating piracy and armed robbery against ships in Asia, RECAP, in 2006 marked a pivotal anti-piracy initiative in the region. This agreement significantly enhanced maritime security collaboration among nations by facilitating multilateral cooperation against piracy and armed robbery through information sharing, capacity building, and cooperative arrangements. Despite efforts to combat piracy, there have been notable spikes in incidents in the Strait of Malacca. In 2011, 26 incidents were recorded, and this number jumped to 104 by 2015. The situation seemed to improve in 2016, with only 2 reported. However, a concerning trend emerged in 2020, with incidents in the Singapore Strait increasing by over 50% compared to the same period in 2019. The piracy map of 2023 shows many incidents concentrated in this region. The Strait of Malacca is a vital supply line for global trade, and any delays or detours due to piracy can cost millions of dollars. While significant efforts have been made to improve security, there's still a lot of work to be done. In response to these challenges, Thailand is reviving a centuries-old ambition to bypass the Strait of Malacca by developing a colossal land bridge project. This initiative aims to connect 2 Thai ports, Chumpon and Ranong, via a 90-kilometer corridor comprising a road, a railway, and a pipeline. The project includes deep-water ports capable of accommodating large vessels like Panamax and Neo-Panamax container ships. Once operational, these ports are expected to handle around 20 million containers annually, creating approximately 100,000 jobs and boosting the region's economy. The estimated cost of Thailand's land bridge project is $35.6 billion, with construction set to start in September 2025 and spread over 8 years in 4 phases. Despite the ambitious timeline, some observers believe this project might not get completed till 2039. To finance this massive undertaking, the Thai government is seeking international investors, with interest from countries in the Middle East, the United States, and particularly China. China's involvement is significant due to its heavy reliance on the Strait of Malacca for trade and energy supplies. By 2035, the International Energy Agency estimates that 85% of China's oil supplies will pass through this strategic corridor. China's leaders have been aware of this vulnerability, known as the Malacca Dilemma, since 2003 and have been exploring ways to mitigate the risks of a potential blockade by adversaries, such as the United States. Thailand's bridge project promises to save 6 to 9 days of shipping time compared to the Strait of Malacca. However, this gain is less substantial than the time saved by other strategic crossings like the Panama or Suez canals, which cut weeks off shipping times. Additionally, the logistics for shipping companies are going to be more complex, requiring ships to unload and transfer freight across the 90-kilometer corridor before continuing on their journey. While traffic through the Strait of Malacca is expected to increase from 86,000 cargo ships annually to 126,000 within the next decade, current alternative routes like the Lombok and Sunda Straits involve considerably longer journeys. This is challenging to reconcile with the demands of a globalized economy that requires rapid goods transportation. Malaysia, another key player in the region, is also working on an alternative to the Strait of Malacca. The East Coast Rail Link (ECRL) aims to connect the country's west and east coasts, providing a potential shortcut. The $13 billion project will link the port of Kuantan on the South China Sea to Port Klang, Malaysia's main port city. While the ECRL might save less time than Thailand's land bridge, it represents a significant step in regional infrastructure development. China is heavily investing in both the Thai and Malaysian projects as part of its broader strategy known as the New Silk Roads, aiming to enhance global connectivity and promote economic exchanges. Beijing's already committed over $120 billion in investments in Malaysia, including the ECRL. The ECRL is significantly ahead of Thailand's land bridge project, with over 60% of the work completed as of early 2024. The project's completion is now expected to be completed by the end of the year for 2027. It remains to be seen whether Thailand's land bridge is going to overshadow Malaysia's new route. As Thailand and Malaysia develop alternative routes, the region's geopolitical landscape and the dynamics of international trade will continue to evolve. The success of these ambitious projects depends on their ability to attract investment and navigate the complex logistical challenges inherent in creating new maritime pathways. We're committed to releasing 2 videos a week. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and smash that bell icon for more visionary builds.